Hello! Today's video looks at the extract question. So here's a sample extract. I'm using as a model of mice and men, and here is the kind of question that you get asked. It's always about a moment in the text being powerful or significant or important. And really that's just the same question. So this is the death of Curly's wife. And the section that I'm looking at starts here after she's dead and ends with the men discovering or just about to discover her body. And my purpose is to show you some essays written by my class to show you the types of mistake that students make that you should avoid, and also to show you how to do well in writing about the context and in writing about Steinbeck, or in this case the author's, point of view. So one of the ways you can test to see whether you're exam ready is to actually try an exam question. This was a cover lesson 4 weeks before my year 11s were to sit their exam, and because I wasn't there in the classroom, they struggled to motivate themselves. And that's your first test, actually. Can you motivate yourself? If you can't, you're really going to struggle at A-level and possibly at GCSE. So here is a student who should get at least a C, and I want to take you through his thought processes. How is this a powerful moment in the play? Now, you don't have to write out the title, that's just wasting time. Steinbeck makes this a powerful and important part in the novel by using companionship, such as he lifted his hand from over her mouth. So he's scoring marks because he's thought about Steinbeck's purpose. He's linked it to a theme of the novel, companionship. However, he's linked it to a quotation that doesn't necessarily give us companionship. If he can make that quotation work, that's going to be highly original and he's going to score really well. So let's see. This suggests that Curly's wife has been killed by Lenny. Okay, it does. He's right, but will that link back to companionship? As a result, Curly's wife will be lonely. Well, that's not really a very good link, is it? She's dead and therefore she'll be lonely. So the quotation hasn't worked. He knows that he's got to say something about companionship, but he's picked the wrong quotation. Life on a ranch is very difficult and can be awfully lonely. Therefore, there is a human need for companionship. So this candidate's problem is he knows what he wants to say about the novel, but he just can't find a way to make that fit the extract. So lesson number 1, you only introduce what you know about the novel in response to something you find in the extract. And this writer has done the opposite. He started with what he knows in the novel and tried to make the extract fit. Don't do it that way round. Let's see how he does now. Furthermore, it should be of mice and men, and the title should be underlined, or there should be quotation marks around it and no underlining. Steinbeck uses the American dream to show that reality defeats idealism. Well, that's brilliant. That's absolutely true. But can he make it fit the passage? Such as, but George will be mad if you yell. This implies that George is the boss of Lenny. True, but that doesn't yet have anything to do with reality defeating idealism. And he will tell Lenny if he does wrong. Again, true, but doesn't relate back to that point. And so again, his argument is weak because he's not making the extract fit what he's saying about the novel. In Mice and Men, George and Lenny set off and find work at a ranch to raise money for a ranch of their own. At the ranch, the plight of migrant workers is shown because a large amount of workers are suffering due to loneliness and being powerless. So again, he's showing off all his excellent knowledge of the novel, but he's not scoring any marks for this because he's not found anything in the passage to talk about in relation to these ideas. But their American dream is shattered when Lenny kills Curly's wife. So here, he has actually done that. He's now got something that's happened in the passage that links to his ideas about the novel. because Curly is the son of the owner of the ranch, and he sends out a search party for Lenny. When Lenny dies, it shows that reality defeats idealism. So well done. He's linked back to this idea that he had there, and he just about gets away with it, even though, of course, when Lenny dies doesn't happen in this passage. It would really be helpful if he linked this death to the death of Curly's wife, how she had the ideal of companionship, being in movies, but that this idealism was short-lived, and that reality, in this case her death, triumphed and defeated it. Then he could have got the marks for making the link. Right. In addition, this is a powerful moment in the novel because after Curly's wife had tragically been killed, she was very pretty and simple, and her reddened lips made her seem alive and sleeping very lightly. So this is promising. He's actually found a quotation from the novel that looks like it's going to link to tragedy and link to the point he's making. This suggests that Curly's wife was a woman who dressed up regularly, even though she was not going out. It could suggest that women in that era had nothing to do except put makeup on. Well, that really is a very weak point. It doesn't suggest that. In fact, if you look at the novel, you can see that the only other women mentioned are madams and prostitutes. So actually the women have to do very demeaning work in order to make a living. And we can certainly argue that Curly's wife has had to sell herself in the sense that she's married for money and it's not somebody that she loves or even likes. It's not prostitution, but it certainly is a terrible compromise to avoid abject poverty. In addition, Curly's wife had no name and is named after her husband. This is a powerful moment in the play because it shows that women are mistreated in that era. So yes, that is a valid point, but of course he's run into trouble because he's called the text a play instead of a novel. But that does link to his quotation about Curly's wife. Mice and Men is based on the inevitability of fate and the fragility of human dreams. Well, once again, he's using his knowledge of the themes of the novel really well, but can he link it to the text? Steinbeck explores the tension between them both. Then gradually time awakened. This suggests that time itself had stopped and fate was inevitable for Lenny. So suddenly he's introduced an A-grade idea here, this idea of time representing fate, which is linked back to the inevitability, which is linked back to how human dreams are frail. So we've got an A-grade idea. He's really thought this one through. Can he pull it off? It will soon catch up with him. Good, because we know he's going to be killed. The human dreams are fragile due to the inevitability of fate. Well, he's only repeating a point that he's made before. Can he back it up? Men's voices became louder and clear. No, that quotation, he's not saying anything about it, and it doesn't relate back. So he hasn't fully fleshed out this A-grade idea. Steinbeck decides to end the story with George and Lenny being chased through the woods because it shows that there was no court or police and murders were dealt with in a specific way, which was death. Overall, the whole novella shows that the Great Depression is taking over America and migrant workers were being dispossessed. Well, this is a weak conclusion because it's only again based on what he knows and it's not based on the actual quotations. So really the only part of his essays where he's really on form is this one which we've seen here. Now he's introduced another conclusion. Overall, I think that the most powerful part in this part of the novel is when Lenny commits murder against Curly's wife because it shows that fate and human dreams are both connected into one. He's making quite a good point, but he hasn't explained what he means by how fate and human dreams are both connected into one. What does that mean? He needs to spell out that Steinbeck thinks that during the Great Depression there is no hope, there is only tragedy, or some other message. So hopefully you can see that there's a big danger in writing about what you know about the novel without linking it to the actual passage. In my next video, I'll look at a slightly better essay and we'll see how things improve.